Hi, everybody. We are a team from YAI, and we're so grateful to be part of this process and to have partnered with Cornell Tech. It is so inspiring to hear about all the great work that you guys are doing in terms of accessibility and inclusion and making sure people's lived experience is included in part of what you're developing. So we're really grateful to be here. I'm Judith-Bailey Hung. I am the supervisor for YAI's Center for Innovation and Engagement.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carmine Cammarata. I am a person-centered technology specialist. I work under Judith at YAI Center for Innovation and Engagement.
Hi everyone, I'm Sheldon Allen. I'm an individual at YAI.
Hi, I'm Ashi Diamon. I am also a person-centered technology specialist.
Hello, my name is Gretchen Hanser. I'm the Director of Assistive Technology and Literacy Instruction at the International Academy of Hope, and we are under YAI.
So just to tell you a little bit about YAI and who we support about 20,000 people with intellectual and developmental disabilities from birth through the end of life. We have programs in New York, we have New Jersey, and we also have programs in California. Our Center for Innovation and Engagement was started. It's a grant-funded program because there is very limited Medicaid dollars for assistive technology in the adult support world. So we started this department and we've had several grants that have allowed us to really look at how we can support people with IDD using various technologies. We use a person-centered approach, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and we focused our buckets for technology into home health, community, and safety, and you'll hear a lot more about those as we go on.
So, as I said, I'm at iHope. iHope is a private school right in Midtown, 53rd and 7th. Come on over and visit. We love visitors. So it's a private school for kids with brain injuries like cerebral palsy, epilepsy, all sorts of different things. And so these students are pretty involved. The majority of them don't use verbal speech to communicate. They have motor issues. All of them use wheelchairs, and many of them have vision issues, such as cortical vision impairment, and some of them do have hearing issues as well. So we have a comprehensive set of therapies there, such as speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, vision, and even music. All the kids love music. So we have a very robust program. We focus heavily on teaching these students how to communicate using augmentative and alternative communication, as well as robust literacy instruction. So you ask, how can somebody who can't see and can't talk and can't use their hands, how could they possibly do literacy instruction? We use a ton of assistive technology to accommodate for their issues, and with the right technology in place, they're doing it. So it's really exciting. So I'm really excited to talk to you along with these guys about technology because it's a game changer. And here we are. Come follow us on Instagram. We have a great social media person constantly posting pictures and videos of what our kids are doing and how they do it. Next. Oh, I'm still here. Okay. So what is assistive technology? And I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here. Assistive technology is any piece of equipment, whether you buy it, whether you make it, whether you customize something, as long as it helps somebody do something they couldn't do without it, it's considered assistive technology. So, it could be something as fancy as this, wheelchair stair climber, right? That's a piece of assistive technology. It allows somebody to get up and down the stairs. It could be something as simple as these adaptations on a joystick to help somebody grasp it better. The joystick, the end of the joysticks can be quite small, and kids and adults might have trouble holding it. So something as simple as a wooden dowel and a ball glued on the end of it, that would be considered assistive technology. Another piece of technology is this robotic painting arm, which was made by this fantastic engineer who's local. His name is Bob Paradiso, and he built this. And you can control it with a variety of interfaces, such as switches, eye blinks, sensors on your skin, and you can move the paintbrush around and have it go up and down and paint. It's very, very cool. And so assistive technology is a huge, huge field. There's many different areas within the field of assistive technology. You know, technology for reading and writing, technology for rec and leisure. There's all these cool adaptive sports things, adaptive wheelchairs, technology for hearing impairments, and lots for vision impairments. Augmentative communication, I mentioned that. We're going to look a little bit more at that. Seating and mobility, I think you guys remember Christopher Reeves, right? He had a high spinal cord injury. He used a very special wheelchair with a mouth like breath control device on it to make himself go forward and turn, et cetera. And then there's electronic aids to daily living. And there's Christopher again using this what's called like a sip and puff switch to control everything in his world, like temperature, phones, everything. So the point is there's lots and lots and lots of different types of assistive technology. The field is very big, but we're always looking for more. Hint, hint. So at iHope, like I said, we use a lot of assistive technology. So we have an assistive technology team because part of having AT is having the services to make it happen, right? It's not enough just to have the box with the cool stuff in it. It's the help to implement it, to teach, and to train everybody how to use it. So our AT team does loads of things, except the one thing we don't do is change the batteries. People always come to us with stuff and they say, it's broken. And we're like, did you change the batteries? Oops, no. So, but we do a lot in terms of consultations, mounting, fixing things, helping people do assessments for figuring out what kind of tech they need. And then we spend the most of our time doing training, right? Because we're trying to get this stuff rolling throughout the day everywhere. We also work a lot with outside vendors. They come to our school to see how we're using it, and we're actually able to give them feedback and tell them what we would like better, to be better. We're good at that. We have strong opinions here. And so Judith is going to talk about her team.
Hello, everyone again. The technology team, sort of like, the parallel to what Gretchen's team does at iHope, we do at sort of YAI as a whole. And our role is person-centered technology specialist. And the focus in there is the person-centered portion, not so much the technology. Obviously, that's very important, but it starts with the person-centered approach. All three of us we've had 3 staff over the 6 years that we've existed. We all have direct support background, and I think that's pretty crucial because we want to make sure we're starting from a person-centered approach and not a tech-first approach. We're providing ongoing support and follow along, so we're not just like dropping off technology and then leaving it in to gather dust, as unfortunately happens sometimes. We're the ones that are conducting the assessments with people, and again, that's where the person-centered approach starts. There's no one size fits all. I can tell you every assessment I do is a little bit different from others. They're never exactly alike. And we're also just provide general consultation to people and programs. It doesn't always lead to maybe a full-on assessment, but just if someone needs troubleshooting for the technology in their program, they come to us. So Sheldon, if you'd like to join me for this part. Wherever you want to stand or sit. Wherever you're good. You want to come closer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Sheldon is someone I work with at YAI. And just to go over what the tech assessment and person-centered planning process was, Sheldon's going to talk about what the approach was like for him. So Sheldon, do you remember how the process began?
Yeah, I talked to Bridget, one of the staff, the BIS, and she reached out to Carmine, and he came or he spoke about it, and he brought it and we set it up together, and it really helps me a lot because I get to like do stuff like watch movies on my computer, and like you could do like job applications, online job applications on your computer, and like meetings and stuff. Like it's really helpful to me.
Yeah. So as you said, Bridget, who's one of your staff, made the referral to us. We had the grant going on. I came and met with you. And you remember the important 2 and 4 when we were talking about that. That's one of the pieces of our person-centered planning, where we talk about person's hopes and dreams, and then the things that they need to get there. We call it the important 2 and 4. And so when we talked about that, that's when I came up that you were job searching. And then you advocated a laptop would help you with that. We got the laptop over to you.
Yes.
Yep. And so, yeah, what kind of improvement have you seen from having the tag? Has it made things easier for you?
Much easier.
Yeah, to look for the job and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, anything else you want to add about technology overall?
It's good to have. I mean, it's really good to have. Uh, I can't really complain. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheldon. Appreciate that. Anything else you want to add at all? Just about anything? You good?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sheldon. I appreciate it. So yeah, we've got given laptops to other people and other kinds of tech, but it's not always for the same reason. It's not always going to be the same exact approach. But yeah, that's where the person-centered portion comes from. So some of the common challenges that come up, just that we see in both the planning portion and when people make referrals or just come to us for consultations. The biggest ones, and we're going to this is sort of like our overture. We're going to go over these later and what technology we're using to, in general, face them. Communication, which Gretchen has talked about a little and we'll talk about very much in depth. Stress regulation, which Judith is going to talk a little bit about. Healthcare, which Ashi is going to talk about. And then balancing independence and safety, which we'll kind of look at the end. And then independent living, which I will talk about as we get towards the end as well. Okay.
I think we've already alluded to this. Carmine talked about things ending up in closets, right? And technology not being used. Technology is just the tool, right? What matters is what it's for, and having that person be involved in what they want to use, what they need to do, and what kind of tech they need. That's what matters, right? If we could see so many times we've seen people see this cool stuff at a conference, be like, oh my gosh, we need to buy that. Let's get that for this person. And then they get it without the student being involved, and then it doesn't work, right? It's just a tool. Without understanding what you need to use it for, it's that we're not doing a good job with assistive technology. So we are going to talk a little bit about augmentative and alternative communication. We actually have an expert on that right in the room here. And go see his presentation later. It's about AC. It's all his research. So augmentative communication is just any kind of device that allows a person to communicate. It could be replacing communicating for as a primary replacement for their speech. Augmentative communication can also be to supplement somebody who can speak, but perhaps it's unintelligible, right? You can't maybe understand them. It can also be for people temporarily or having some kind of surgery where they cannot speak. So this is one of our students right here, and that's her communication device. It's on an iPad. The one big thing that is a misnomer in the field is that when people start using augmentative communication, they're going to stop trying to talk, right? And so many people in the field, actually many people outside our field will say, oh no, this person shouldn't have a communication device because then they won't try to talk anymore. It's going to impede their speech. And the research actually shows just the opposite. Having a communication device that they can use to communicate with a voice on it promotes speech. So that is one issue. Big issue. So there's many different types of communications devices on the market. They're all super different because like Carmine said and Judith said, one size does not fit all. So this is where the very careful evaluation comes in. So over here on the right, we have tactual symbols. We have for individuals who can't see. They can't benefit and use these other devices with pictures and words on them. So these are for them to feel and understand and touch them and hand them to somebody, and they're communicating something. So these are words up here like want, help, go, happy, sad. So these are very basic words, but we use them a lot with kids who don't speak, who are blind, who are just learning to communicate. This is a special device for students or adults with vision issues. When you press one of these buttons, a light shines underneath that one particular button. So that kind of helps, enhance it to, perhaps have somebody see it a little more efficiently. And then up here in the corner, we've got something called the Ubi Duo, which is more for people with hearing impairments. And it's got a keyboard on each side of it. So the person who perhaps is deaf could be typing to the other person on the side of them who doesn't know sign language. So, and then they can go back and forth and have a real conversation. And then on the bottom here is just a accent communication device from Pregi Romic, and it just runs on all these different icons. There's thousands of words in there. And like I said, there's so many more out there. And just, you know, we look at when we're assessing or giving any kind of tech out to anybody, we always look at their physical skills, sensory skills first. We look at, can they use their hands efficiently? And so this is all, you know, just examples of individuals using their hands to touch an iPad, touch a key, you know, one-handed keyboard here, using joysticks. This individual here, he's got quadriplegia, so can't use his fingers, but he uses a special stylus on there to point. So that's easy, right? When we have somebody we're doing tech for, if they can use their hands, that's great. We also do tech when people can't use their hands, we go to their head, right? And you have them use like head tracking, head control to operate something on the screen. And now like in the iPad, they have head tracking. They also have eye gaze control in there. But this little guy here, you see the little dot on his forehead? That is like the receiver. And then on the iPad, on the computer up there, there's a little camera that reads where the dot is on his forehead. So wherever he moves his head, he moves the cursor on the screen. Now this little guy can't play the piano with his hands, but he's going to play the piano with his head. It's very cool. Let's see. So this is like the first time anybody used this when we got it at school. And it was like such a big deal. If you could have seen the look on his face, oh my gosh, he was so excited. So yeah, so that's the head tracker. And there's many different types of head trackers. And then of course over here is the not so glamorous head pointer. But like in the 90s, that was hot, right? Because we didn't have the tech for head tracking or anything. Some people still like that a lot. And some people do use that because they get contact with something on the keyboard or on the screen. We also use eye gaze. So if head tracking is not efficient or useful, we use eye gaze devices. And so these are two eye gaze communication devices. And they're mounted with pipes on the chair so that the camera on the device can see where the student's eyes are. And all they have to do is look at a square on the screen for a certain dwell time, and then it speaks the message. So, and you can see here we have mounting involved because that device needs to be in just the precise position to work. And so now you're lucky you get to see a real life person using this.
So we'd like to highlight Heather, who is a person that we support that has cerebral palsy, and she uses a host of different AT devices daily. We've got some videos of her using it in the next slide here, but some of the devices that she uses are a motorized wheelchair when she's out in the community, an accent model AAC device, which is like a tablet, a zipper that magnetic zipper that magnetizes closed at the base so that she can zip it up with just one hand. And also wrist weights and a pencil grip so that she can stabilize her hand when she's coloring or writing with a pen. So we have videos here of her using her Accent AAC device and also a predictive text program on her computer with a special keyboard and a special joystick. This is also the computer she uses to read Kindle books and basically do much of her recreation work. So let's take a look at the AAC device. So Heather is very smart, very engaging. So she's a great representative of this technology. But here she is using a predictive text to tell me about the jacket that she wants more of. Oh, yeah. So she's typing on the screen there, but it's me realizing what it was she was trying to refer to. But when you speak with Heather through email or anything where she's using this device to type, she's very eloquent and will write very long documents on things that she wants and like communication cards that we're designing for her. So she's able to communicate just very, very eloquently through this device. Oop, and we've already done that. All right, so we have a group activity because I know y'all are so sleepy from lunch. So can I get a raise of hands if you've used an AAC device before? Oh my gosh, that's perfect because that was going to disqualify you from the game. All right, so we need 4 volunteers. And what we're going to do is we have 4 AAC devices. We are going to explain how they work, and we're going to ask everybody, what did you do last weekend? And so each person is going to take one AAC device and they're going to attempt to communicate what they did. And you can kind of see the limitations and some of the benefits of the different devices. They're cross price points. We have something that is just printed out. We have something that is an app on an iPad. Yep, perfect. We have a very simple speaking device. And we also have an app for Google tablets called Action Blocks that you can find in the App Store. So anybody want to stretch their legs? Anyone at this table? There you go. Oh, perfect. Come on up. All right. So we need 2 more people who've never used AAC devices before. I can pick on people if we Well, actually, you could help us by helping us with the paper one because we were actually going to have somebody assist with the paper one. So, oh, perfect. All right, great. And so now, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, so we've got 3 and we need 1 more person who is brave or just wants to stand up. You, perfect. All right, come on up. All right, so we're going to distribute these to you randomly. Um, yeah, yeah. So she's going to give us a little bit of a walkthrough on how to use the different devices.
So this app is called Touch Chat and it has thousands of words in it. It branches to all these different pages. It's based on categories. It also has access to the alphabet. Any of these high-tech devices has access to words, phrases, and the alphabet for whatever words you can't find. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to repeat that? Okay, all right. So this is Touch Chat. Who should get Touch Chat? What do you think?
Who is the most nervous to be up here?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna try to give the easiest ones.
All right,
here we go,
gets
you got
Touch
it.
Chat. Very good. Excellent. And the buttons with the little arrows in the corner that branches. Okay, this is a very simple mid-tech device. That's a high-tech speech generating device. This is a mid-tech device. This is called the GoTalk 9, and this is typically would be used with younger kids. And so you see there's black backgrounds and neon colored symbols. This was set up for kids with cortical vision impairment who you can engage their vision sometimes with bright neon colors. Unfortunately, this just got thrown before I left, so the top 3 buttons don't work, but you can have your helper next to you call out whatever you point to, okay? This is real life. What's this one? You want to take that? Okay. Last one is, no, sorry, not last one, but The next one is a paper-based AAC board. This is assistive technology, right? Even paper can be AT. This is helping somebody communicate it. Without this, they couldn't. So it's got all these high-frequency words on the front, which are like every second of the day words that make up like 80% of our communications. And on the other side is the alphabet. The alphabet is our big backup, or a big supplement. So if what you want to say is not here, going to the alphabet is always very helpful. Okay, so you got that. And then the last one, Carmine?
Oh, yeah. So this, this is just an Android tablet. These are Google Action Blocks. What's nice about this is if you got an Android tablet, you have free access to it, or an Android phone. What's not nice about it is it can be a little limited. There's no predictive text. So whoever gets this, if you want help in making a new action block, you got to through the process. I can help you do it. But yeah, who wants the? Yeah. I put some like common things on here, but it's gonna be still a little limited.
Yep. I was going to say, yep, that we're going to have you call out the things that he points to on this board. So everyone wants to kind of take a look at it and see if you can try to describe what you did last weekend. So we're going to give you about a minute just to kind of do that. And yes. Yep. Carmine can help you.
Food. Ate. Food.
I mean, yes, I ate.
Okay, so let's go in order and see. Are you prepared with yours already, or you're working on? Okay, you give them in their time.
Yeah, just those.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Groceries.
And then this one's gonna be.
Grocery shopping. You went grocery shopping.
Well, that's why when you.
Oh, okay. So when you pointed to food, you meant you went grocery shopping.
And then.
These aren't, but you can point to any if you want to.
And we can read them out. Mhm. All right.
Hello, my name is.
You could look for it, but it'll just throw the text.
Yeah, the Go Talk 9 is perhaps the most limited outside of the action block. Well, because you have the least amount of choices, then would you like to go first and and see how close we can get to what your weekend was like? So we've got let's eat, and then more, the sign for more. And oh, and I like that. All right, so we got let's eat more, and I like that, and I love that. That's perfect. It sounds like a great weekend. Well, thank you so much. So as you can see, that is fairly limited to the most basic ones that we would have for that particular age group. But this is, a very simple version of it. Would you guys like to go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was what I did was I wanted to let her know that I went shopping for groceries.
Oh, wait. Don't tell us yet.
Oh.
So first, let's
okay,
have
sorry,
it. Yeah. So let's have you use this first.
Currently pointing to food.
Okay. And you can
No
always spell it out on the
options, so
back.
now using the alphabet GROCERIES. Groceries.
Perfect. Lovely. And what about you here? Here, let's put the mic up to your speaker. Is it stuck? Oh, there we are.
I drink with my friend.
You touch the message window. The white bar on top.
Restaurant.
Beautiful. All right, so you want to go ahead and touch that white bar?
with place I drink with my friend restaurant.
There we go. So as you can see, we've got a little bit more options there, and that is an app that's just on a standard iPad, so that's accessible to people. And then lastly, we have the action blocks, which requires a bit of setup if you want to be specific, which obviously you would be programming the most used things. And action blocks are really great because they can also be used to run certain processes on the tablet. So Carmine has one on our iPad that, or our Android tablet that just plays cat videos automatically. So it's a shortcut in order to be able to do the thing that you want to do.
But it can also do speech, which is what we're using here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so without using your words, I mean, your spoken words, we're gonna ask what you did this weekend.
Hello, my name is Ben. I went to the library. Go outside. Made food.
Love it. Oh, incredible. Thank you all for being very brave. All right. I believe this is Gretchen.
Okay, so just a little bit about alternative access. When individuals cannot use their hands to point, we turn to all sorts of other alternative interfaces, and I thought, given the audience, you might be interested in seeing those things. So when individuals can't point to the iPad or any of those boards you looked at, we use something called scanning with switches. This is a physical switch right here. It's just a mechanical button. They make all different types of buttons, actually. Some are big, some are little. Some require hardly any strength. This is a little teeny button. So there's millions of different types of switches. This is one that's called a proximity switch, and you just hover right near it and it activates whatever it's plugged into, okay? So in this case, we're plugged into a communication device, and this is the act of what we call scanning. It's no different than you like using your TV remote to go through like choices and then pick something, but this is the screen of a communication device, and they're using a switch to start the scan and then a switch when it gets to what they want. It moves automatically. So that's the act of scanning, and you could do scanning with a single switch, with two switches. But the point is here, this is an alternate way to access a device. It doesn't have to be a communication device. It could be something else. This is how Stephen Hawking used to communicate, but his scan pattern was like much faster, much faster. We also, oh, there's Stephen Hawking. So I had to put him up here again, given the audience. And this guy used so much tech to access his computer and his communication devices, from like eye blink switches, little thumb switches, sensor switches. So he used it all as his physical abilities changed. And so we have these EMG switches that we're trialing at our school right now. There's one out there called the NeuroNode, and it literally is an EMG switch that you can put anywhere over a muscle or skin, and when it detects like a potential, it'll activate whatever it's plugged into. Right now, the hot thing out there are brain-computer interfaces. There are so many pop-up companies making these now, and we're working with a company in Canada called POS Neuro, and we're testing something like that out. And right now they're working on decreasing the electrodes and changing the look of the headset, right? And so now it's not a cap anymore. Now they have like a new headset. So we're trialing that out. It's not as easy to use as you would think for any of this stuff. It looks really cool. It's like, oh, let's get that. But when you actually go to try it, it's not always what you think. But see, if you came to visit us, you could try this stuff out. What kind of what kind of AT do we use at iHope? Pretty much all the stuff we've talked about, right? Communication devices, we use crazy switches, things called mounts, where you can put it on someone's chair, on a table, on a bed, put the switch on it and move it to wherever they have the best movement or best ability. We do all sorts of computer iPads and toys, academic stuff, environmental control, and we do a lot with power chairs. I just had to show you this little guy. Kids learn how to drive chairs at our school, and this is for an event we do called Art Speaks, where kids make art without having to use a paintbrush with their hands. So we put canvas down on the floor in the PT gym, and this little guy's learning to drive a power chair, so we attached a paint roller to his chair, and so he drives around and paints the canvas. So here he is. So we have a lot of fun there. And actually that got auctioned off and it was sold for quite a bit of money at Art Speaks. But anyway, for the other AT we use, all of our students are enabled to hold a pencil and legibly write. So we use alternatives to that number 2 pencil, and we call them alternative pencils. And they're just different ways for kids to write with or adults to write with the full alphabet, because we believe in the power of the alphabet. With the power of 26, you can say anything that you want. So having our kids learn to spell, even just to give us the first 2 letters of what they're thinking, is going to be a game changer for them. So, you know, it could be like an eye gaze frame. It could be these switches. It could be like an enlarged keyboard. All different things are out there. So we use those. Most of our students can't hold books and can't turn pages, so we just use alternatives for that. So we have things where they can read on the computer. We have these things called computer switch interfaces. All they do is turn switches into keyboard equivalents. So you could plug in, thanks, you could plug a switch into, uh-oh, what happened? You could plug a switch into this, and then you could even have PowerPoint up, and using a switch, you can turn pages in a PowerPoint book, which is what this young man is doing with a head switch. So he can just sit there and bop around through a PowerPoint that has a book embedded in it. We do a lot, as I mentioned, with environmental control. This is a little guy using this thing called the switch adapted pour cup. So when he clicks the switch, it's got a little motor on it, and the cup tips and pours into a bowl or whatever you're using. So he's got a little green switch on his tray, and he's going to press that, and it's going to make the cup pour things into the bowl. We have a lot of fun. It's got to be fun, right? So that's a switch adaptive pour cup. I'd like to call attention to the price, $265 for like a little motor in a plastic casing. So there's got to be a better way to make these things for less money. Anyway, here's another gadget that we use. This is called the PowerLink. This is just another thing we use to give some environmental control to kids. You just plug in any electronic device, any electrical appliance into the PowerLink, and it makes it switch accessible. So on the left, we have a paper shredder plugged into the PowerLink, and then by that student's foot, there's a red button. And when he pushes the red button, it's going to make the shredder go. Okay. And then another one I had to throw in was this leaf blower basketball. So we have a leaf blower here pointed up with a inflatable basketball. And so when the student hits the switch, you're going to see what happens here. Right? So it's got to be fun, right? And just we're trying to have these kids do stuff that they can't do with their hands. Right? We're just giving them an alternative way to do it. And, you know, I keep saying kids, but this is good for anybody, right? For cooking, for leisure. It's not just for kids. And so, you know, leisure, going to leisure, AT for leisure, we use special switch interfaces for kids to access the iPad, or any adult to access the iPad. So if we have individuals who can't point to the iPad, they can use a an iPad switch interface. So in this video, this is a middle schooler taking a break on the mat, and she's using this wobble switch right here, and it's connected to the iPad. And when she goes like that, it's set up to go through TikTok videos. So it's just like she's there forever, just like going through it, just like any other teenager, right? But this is nice because she can just be by herself and go through her videos. Let's see. Come on. Oh, this is the best video. Oh. do you think happened there? There's got to be, this is a tech conference, right? There's got to be a tech glitch somewhere. Yeah. No, it's not there. Imagine somebody laying on the mat going like this, scrolling through videos, right? But anyway, just to call attention, that is an iPad switch interface. And then to do the switch access, as you probably know, in the iOS, there's a huge accessibility area. And there's one that we rely on heavily called switch control. And that's what we use to build recipes or to do scanning in there to make the iPad accessible in an alternative format. And then, of course, you guys are familiar with this. This is like, the Xbox interface where you can plug any kind of switch into or special joysticks so that it's, gaming is accessible. And then as I wrap up, I just wanted to show you some toys, right? We do a lot of, everybody needs, kids need to be able to play with toys. So we do a lot of hacking at our school. We know a lot of us know how to solder. And so we'll go buy things like at Dwayne Reed and then hack it and make it switch accessible. So this little guy here is using a head switch, that red button mounted by his head with a camera mount. That's all it is, a camera arm. And he's pressing the button and playing with this Grim Reaper toy. Oh, good, it's playing. Right, and we're going to be hauling that toy out soon because it's Halloween, right? So it's just great because AT's just allowing these kids to be kids. And then here's what we also use these things. Well, this is how we did the Grim Reaper. This is how we adapt it. We make these things called battery interrupters, which are actually just circuit interrupters, right? And it allows you to plug a switch in. You plug a switch into that, and it allows them to control the toy. That's all it is, a battery interrupter. And so we'll get like the ball throwers off of Amazon or Spin Art, and then we can make them switch accessible with the battery interrupters. The problem is these battery interrupters need a better design. You can buy them from the vendor and they're very flimsy. So we do all our own soldering, and we're looking for ways to improve it. We need more, we need help. So, but this has like been the best way to make it switch accessible for the kids. We also do internal hacking. We do this toy drive every year. Let's see. I got to, right? We do a toy drive every year. So it's really hard for parents and family to buy toys for our population of kids, since they have trouble using their hands. So we make adapted toy kits for our students. So each kid gets like a kit with things they're interested in that have been adapted there for their physical and vision issues. And so I just wanted to show you, this is something that AT department does. Last year we made like 130 toy kits. It was like craziness, but it was so much fun. We love it. We're nerds. And these are just some examples of the kids getting their toys. But we do that we do it from like November to January, and then the students get the holiday kits in January. So these types of things go in the kits. And here's one. Here's an example of one kit. This guy got the prank kit with all sorts of pranks in it to do to other people. And so do you see he's got a button by his head? It's a pillow switch on a camera arm. And when he touches it with his head, he activates things. So as most teenagers, this guy is totally motivated by farts, completely, right? Completely. And so have you guys seen the fart machine you could get from like Target or an Amazon, right? Now see, look, you get the remote control, right? And it's got a really small button on it that you have to have a good thumb strength to do. And so we're like, Jamil needs to do this too. So we go into the circuits and we actually solder right on top of that to make it switch accessible, just like an 1/8" jack, mono jack. But this is something we try to do a lot of this. We're not very good at it, and we always need help for doing this. Hint, hint. So anyway, we have a lot of our fun at our school. Come visit anytime. We have lots of events you could be involved in. Then in March, we have National Reading Month. We have people come in and be guest readers. There's always lots to do. So that's I hope and AT in a nutshell, and Judith, or yes, Judith is going next.
So I work mostly with adults in our residential group homes, so they can either have 24-hour staff support or um, maybe less, but they have some staff support to help them live more independently. Many individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities also have comorbid mental health challenges, and emotional regulation is a huge challenge. And we've tried lots of different pieces of technology. We've tried apps. We've worked with a variety of different things. And one of the key pieces in terms of any of this technology is that um, it needs to be easy to use, have limited words, and include visuals. So we recently, and I'm holding it the wrong way. Does somebody want to try this? Volunteer. This is called the Moonbird. Sheldon, do you want to try it? So you're going to hold it in your hand and put your thumb on that button. Yep.
It's like
So we've-
vibrating in my hand right now.
Yeah, so we discovered this device recently. So sometimes if we tell someone that we support to do deep breathing, you got, and it's like they're making themselves more anxious. But this device, you hold it in your hand, you can either use it with an app or not. Okay, you can use it with an app or not, and it's concrete. It allows a person to feel the device moving, and it helps them. We've used it with quite a few people, and it just really helps them.
Actually, it feels really good.
Thank you, Sheldon. So stress regulation, emotional regulation is always a challenge, and the more concrete and the more tech we can use is really important. She's going to talk about health.
All right, so accessible health devices that don't require a person to have reading skills. One of these devices is the pill drill, which we can take out for people to take a look at after this. And what this is a device that reminds you to take your medication. You also are able to scan your medication bottle. So it's something that you put onto your medication bottle. It tracks if you've taken it, and it notifies your care team, either your family or if you're living in a supportive environment, your team there, that you've taken your medication. So it's just a really, really good way for people to be able to live independently if they need to take medication every day, but they want to be able to live on their own. We also use fitness wearables like Fitbits a lot. And we also have a lot of devices that we can use to balance independence and safety. Again, this is so that we can really get people to be the most independent they possibly can be. And would you grab that shareware bracelet for me there? So we have this little NFC bracelet, and what you do is you just put it up to your phone, and it will launch the page here that says my name on it with me holding a baby goat. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up with customizable options like your hospital of choice, your emergency contacts, your medications. If you don't use words to speak, if you are frequently lost and you need help. So this is a really, really great kind of, I'd say mid-tech, but very, very accessible thing that people can use in order to be able to be in the community with a little bit more confidence and a lot less risk. We also have other sensors like motion sensors that we would put into people's apartments. And we also have things like bed sensors so that people are able to be notified if someone gets out of bed, if they are a fall risk, or if they just are going to need support when they get out of bed. Carmine, I believe this is you.
So a big thing that we do is helping people be more independent at home. We're always trying to have people starting from their living situations be as independent as possible. But there's a lot of challenges associated with that. And oftentimes technology that, in our homes is convenient for us can be independent allowing for other people. So just some of the things that we've used, bidet attachments to toilets. I know those became really big, especially during lockdown when toilet paper was like gold. Um, but for some people who don't maybe have the dexterity, it can be a total game changer, and it's more hygienic than toilet paper. To have a bidet that, just a simple switch. So, I don't want to go too much detail, but yeah, you get the idea. Um, uh, we've had other things like one of the big connections we made recently was with a company called Brava. It was started by someone from tech and someone from culinary backgrounds. And originally it was just their idea of using laser-based heated cooking instead of radiated, to have more precise cooking, to be like restaurant quality. But what they soon realized is that there was a huge market for people who had accessibility challenges with cooking. And what you can do is you can cook an entire meal just on one pan at different temperatures. So you could have your steak, your vegetables, and your potatoes all cooking at the same time. Cooks a lot faster. It doesn't radiate heat. There's a camera inside. So if the person has, maybe a family member or staff who wants to be able to monitor what they're doing from a different state, as long as they have the app, they can see what's going on in the oven. So it's been a game changer in those ways, and just says a lot about, the concept of universal design, that they didn't design this specifically for people with disabilities, but it has universal application. Roombas, are great for, anybody, but especially someone who might have some challenges with being able to do, a lot of cleaning physically, some of the physical demands of cleaning. And smart lights. I use them because they're convenient, but I've worked with people who, that was the difference between them being able to turn their lights on and off from a tablet or by speaking versus having to have a family member or a staff member do it. So, yeah, and a lot of just something always to think about, that like things that just, I enjoy using for convenience for some people are just total game changers. And these are just our resources of things we've talked about today. And I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to know, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of organizations who are doing the good work. And I just wanted to put up the ones that we work with a lot. Makers Making Change is a US-based organization of makers, where they have makers in major cities, major parts of the states. And you can get online, and they have all these designs, solutions. People will pose a problem and makers will get on it and try to come up with solutions. Tikkun Olam Makers, they're an open source technology group, and based out of Israel, and they just opened up a spot in Midtown. And so they're going to be doing a lot in our state, I think. And they have a website also with like all these open designs available. You can post your own, you can see what they've done and download any kinds of solutions from them. Then there's the atmakersgroup.org, and they've done a ton of stuff. And then some of the professional resources and conferences that we rely on is RESNA, the Rehab Engineering and Assistive Technology Society of North America. They do a lot of assistive technology work across the ages, not just school stuff, but stuff for adults, in all areas, not just communication, hearing, mobility, a ton of different things. ATIA is another organization, and they have a really nice international conference every year in January down at Orlando. So if you want to get out of town, that's the place to go. And then Closing the Gap and CSUN are also big assistive technology conferences. So those are just some very popular resources.
I think that's it. I think we probably went a little over our time, but thank you so much for listening and for your support.
Any questions?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes, anybody has any questions? Anybody? No? Anybody?
I have one question.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Just quickly on some of the devices that you were mentioning, I think it was the pill reader. Is that only in English, or are there other languages that it's also helping people to read labels and things like that?
I believe that there are different language settings. It's all app-based. So yeah, so it would, I believe that it defaults to the language of your device. Um, yeah, but this is the device itself. It's fairly small, but it is connected to an app, so it's going to be it stays connected to the internet, and then you're able to do all of the controls through the app. But this is the physical scanner, and there's also a screen that's going to tell you when to take medication. And this is only one of many different kinds of medication reminders, but this is maybe our most high-tech, fancy, nice new one.
And I think you guys are going to be around still, right? Like, so like if you want to try some of this out and
Yes.
play around with the technology, it's all here. Feel free to use that opportunity. In the interest of time, because like we're running a little bit over right now, I would like to thank you so much for your presentation and showing all the technology and live demo.